Game on! Another day, another match. We're heading into the next game here, and we have a human versus undead. Syde down at the bottom left. I always struggle to pronounce his name, to be honest with you. The guy is absolutely fantastic. Streams too. You should definitely check it out if you haven't done that yet. But yeah. So, bottom left in blue, our undead player, all the way up to the top right. Cruncher is going to have the honor to go up against him right now. So we have another human versus undead matchup, and yeah, should be fun. Had a couple of really good games so far. We honestly didn't really see a single massive stomp yet in all the games that we casted here. I would say the probably most one-sided one was the one between Terror and Taker, but even in that one we had a bit of an opportunity during the big team fight, the first one, for Taker to maybe turn this. Especially since the Death Knight for a few times looked like he might just go down. Didn't in the end, but still, let's see how this one is going to look. And after that, actually, we're going to head into the quarterfinals pretty soon too. So Death Knight first for the undead player. Shocking, I know. So, yep, up towards the top right, we have the Archmage. Who would have thought? The old man with the beer and the pale horse. So yeah, he looks like death incarnated anyways, and that horse doesn't really make the whole picture any better. So yeah, old geezer on a horse, I mean, he better summon some stuff, because he himself is just not threatening enough. A little bit like Deckard Cain in Heroes of the Storm. Hit him with a stick, baby. Hit him with a stick. But yeah, either way, with that now said, let's check out what he can actually do. Yeah, unfortunately, like, we jumped from the last game immediately into this one. So I couldn't really have a closer look of how both of them actually ended up in this game, if there were any tough opponents they had to go through in order to make it to this round. We should still be in round 4 or maybe already 5 at this point. But the games are coming quickly today. It's pretty much one map ending and then the next lobby already being open waiting for me, which is absolutely perfect, of course. But yep, that also means that we can't check everything out. Circle of Nobility, good starting item for the Archmage, a little bit of a stats boost, never a bad thing. Of course, the farms are already being spread all over the map to have a more of an idea of what's coming here. Bit of a previous scout with 5 armor and 500 hit points is pretty annoying to take them down. So yeah, pretty solid setup here to just like scatter the entire map with a couple of farms and make it difficult for your opponent to move anywhere without you knowing about it. But yeah, with that said, already Archmage on his way to level 3, 2. Level 3 at this point would be pretty incredible. At that point you would just sit there and say like, okay, this is old school experience tomb time. You just find 2 or 3 in a row or something, all of a sudden level 3, your opponent is level 1. So yeah, the good old days, so to say. I mean, back then, it was pretty much a gentleman's agreement for... Well, actually, it wasn't really a gentleman's agreement. We had players before a match oftentimes talking about if experienced tombs are allowed or not. And if you at any point found an experienced tomb and you already agreed with your opponent to not use them, you simply destroyed them. So, because, again, experienced tombs would exactly make that happen. Get enough XP to just eclipse your opponent completely, and with the level 3 Archmage, for example, against the level 1 Undead, you can just drop level 2 Water Elementals and crush that guy in the early game, set up a huge push there. And that works, of course, in a whole array of matchups. This time, very different strategy, though, if you compare it to the last human versus Undead that we had in the tournament. We have an expansion attempt, so we already see them jumping up towards the top left, trying to get the expansion through here. And Syde knows exactly what's going on, gets a nice call through, so a bit of experience for the Death Knight. Hasn't hit level 2 just yet, might get another one once the Augur Magi, of course. And there it is, level 2 Death Knight hits level just as he needs it. But of course, in this case, the experience of the Magi itself goes over to Cruncher, who's now on level 2.5, slightly ahead of the Undead player. But at least the second level came in. And honestly, level 2 was pretty important for the Death Knight, because without it, I don't really think he would have fallen, but it would have been a lot closer than it actually was there in the end. But of course, with the Death Knight being this low, it's going to be a little bit tricky. The tech into tier 2 has, as usual, already started, and the idea, as normal, will be to just make sure that you get the quick tech up against your opponent. So what's the problem with the human expansion? The problem with the human expansion is that you are just delaying your tech inevitably, because he spent resources at the expansion, and quite a lot of those. So from an Undead's perspective, what he's trying to do is to tech as quickly as he can to destroyers, then go for a timing attack against the expansion on the main base and take you down there. So this is pretty much what he needs to do right now. Try and get his heroes up as quickly as he can, get the Lich into play, get a few experience points for him too. And the human player is probably going to try to delay all of that as much as he can. Be a little bit aggressive himself, try and poke and prod a bit, maybe set up a decent creep check here. And first of all, make sure that the Undead player has not gotten any time here to really just focus on the expansion and maybe harass that, but also to keep him as low as he possibly can. And the Wand of Illusion is being used to just scout all of this out. There's an attempt to already sneak up towards the top left, where the expansion is now done. We have also the first Arcane Tower being built, another Scout Tower is put in. And here comes the attack, and that's one of those moments where if you're the Undead, you have to quickly decide what are you going to do here. If the Slaughterhouse goes down, and he will have to cancel that, then you already have your entire tech delayed, and that is definitely not where you want to be at. Seems like this Footman is going to survive too. The attack towards the expansion is, of course, kind of successful. Oh, the Death Knight is in trouble and might have to portal out. He has to portal out. Yeah, Death Knight definitely has to portal out there, so that was worth a lot. Was a trade in town portals, but that is still a big win now for Cruncher, because his expansion is running. He cancelled the Slaughterhouse on the opponent's side. Halls of the Dead tag now into the Black Citadel, but the entire setup is super delayed now for the Undead, which means that he is going to have his statues a little bit later. That is taking the early game sustain away if he wants to set up another attack with Fiends and maybe lay siege to that expansion. It's also going to delay Destroyers a little bit for him, and that is just a fantastic setup. So at this point, human player, pretty happy with this. Tagging also into tier 2, having a double Scout Tower on the way with an Arcane Tower and another one and a tower coming through down to the bottom of the map. A little bit more creeping going on with the Lich now being ready for some action. Level 3 for the Death Knight is nearly in, but yeah, it's a solid setup. There's a level 2 coil, and now let's see how he's going to play this out. Cruncher, that is. Because he's already setting everything up here to the top. He makes it really difficult to actually access the peasant line. We're currently looking at a third tower being set up, blacksmith coming in, so everything is blocked off. Super difficult to move in. He's trying to spread the opponent's forces thin a little bit. We have even a supply advantage for the human player, but of course with a little caveat that he has a lot more workers as well. So the army supply is definitely better for the Undead. But Cruncher has still his level 2 water elementals, and there's no Dispel yet, so that makes it difficult. Here comes the tech into tier 3, not done yet. Slaughterhouse is done, first statues are being built, but generally speaking, the human is going to be pretty happy with this position. We have the Mountain King now also in production after the tier 2 tech into Keep got finished by Cruncher. And yeah, he has a pretty good time here so far. He's of course just trying to buy himself more and more time. Time is working in his favor. For him, the longer this lasts, the better. Eventually, the Undead player is going to be outmatched when it comes to army supply and also tech, but for the time being, there is still an advantage to see when it comes to tech itself. So that's something that he's going to make sure that he has and can bring that over time. Of course, he also controls the map a little bit because he has more army supply, and that allows him to get an easier creep setup, which in this case means that he is picking up a potion of invulnerability, and we have a potion of Geta Healing. Gets a third hero in, immediately starts to run down some of those footmen, and the pit lord needs to be careful. Yep, you're not... This is a pretty big model that we have there. It's an easy surround target, and that's something that's going to nearly come through here. But in goes the Lich. Also have now the Staff of Teleportation, so you can use that. Potion of Lesser Invulnerability in the inventory. And there comes another... well, for a second I was about to say Town Portal, but of course it's the Staff of Teleportation. Didn't persuade Cruncher to stop the attack, though. He himself has also a staff, and he uses that right away to go down here and attack the gold mine. And tries, of course, to take a few of those acolytes down as well. If he can just cripple the economy a little bit. Well, so that's all that he needs to do. And as I said previously, he has the big advantage of having now all the time in the world. Loses a shit ton of his footmen, though. That's, I think, 3 of the 5 that were just eliminated. So, Footman taken down, Right now we're having also the flying machines being built, so the anti-destroyer setup is underway. Scout tower in the main base gets upgraded, so a second guard tower joins the fun. Keep is on the way to the Black Citadel, nearly completed with that too. We're starting to look at spellbreakers here, which is going to be annoying for the undead heroes to begin with, but also for the rest of the units. 45 supply for our undead, 44 for Cruncher, but he is definitely still going for the turtle strategy. Bottom right, quick double check if there's maybe an expansion attempt. That's not the case. Instead, it's more creeping. That's on the agenda. Mountain King is getting his first hit points. He's getting his toes wet here in that fight, but the siege is there. And there's already the AoE towards the back. The problem is that all of these heroes are just not high enough. Lich is on 2. Pit Lord is on 1. He can definitely start to damage this a little bit, but it's going to take him an eternity to actually make anything happen here. So Cruncher is fully aware of that and is just saying, whatever you do, I have still some time left. Can go for a third hero. I guess we're going to see that coming in form of the Paladin, and yep, that's the case. But this is the timing that has to be used right now. At least he gets a few of the units down, but he can't even take the Arcane Tower down. There's a quick attack with the Stormbolt against one of the Fiends, and this one is gonna fall. No mana on the Death Knight makes it possible, and if he can take a few more of those, then especially those flying machines will have a field day against the Destroyers. Yep, Destroyer's already getting attacked, and he has to fight. I mean, seriously, the under player can't really fall back. The more time he wastes now, the stronger the human is gonna get. So if you can just take one unit after another down and fight like an endless battle, so to say, against him, then eventually the experience that you gain through it will help you get your hero strong enough that they make a difference. Lich on level 3 is definitely going to be quite helpful to drop the level 2 Nova together with the Coil that, of course, could nuke some heroes here. And I guess is exactly what he needs to do. Nuke the peasant line in this case, and he starts taking them down, and all of a sudden all of that AoE damage that we've seen previously is starting to yield some dividends. So he is getting some damage in, but here comes the Paladin now too, and he's starting another Stormbolt setup against that Death Knight. DK is already a bit low. Human player is behind in supply right now. This attack is starting to look much, much better now for the Undead. After he was able to get the AoE in, and he still does, he can now shut down the income a little bit on the side of Cruncher. So Cruncher is currently with his back to the wall. He needs to somehow defend long enough for him to get a big army through, but as you can tell, Syde is taking down unit after unit, slowly and steadily. Knights are coming in now as well. We don't have a Staff of Preservation just yet. Okay. But, yep, there... well, yeah, not quite. I mean, if he gets a staff and can just simply portal the knights out, that would be great for him too. He is on tier 3, so he definitely could start to buy them. Has also a setup right here. And, well, we got the first one. Here we go. Sanctuary, of course. I think I just used Preservation a second ago, so yeah, Staff of Sanctuary, my bad. But yeah, the Archmage on level 4. That's going to be helpful with the Aura for the two supporting heroes here. Bit more creeping. Both of them are now focusing on one of the Orca Lords. So the attack of Syde was actually pretty impactful, but I don't really think it was impactful to really help him too much here, because as he's trying to get his heroes a little bit higher, and he needs to play through the AoE, he's also running into the problem that now time is working again in favor of the human player, who thanks to the second gold mine can just now start producing unit after unit. And on supply numbers, we still have Cruncher on the no upkeep, which means that he is getting massive amounts of especially gold now. Flying machine for the scouting. And the Legion Doomhorn grabbed by the Paladin as he is on level 2. And the Mountain King himself on 2.5. So experience is still a bit missing on Cruncher's side, but if he gets that, and that would be tricky. If he can get to the shop, then he might be able to buy himself some Scrolls of Healing too, would help against the AoE from the Lich and the Pit Lord. And here comes the attack again, and an expansion now. So, yep, he knows exactly that he has to do something here. The hopes and dreams of crushing through the Expo at the top left are more or less done. He knows that this will come at a huge cost, and he probably can't afford to pull that off, especially since his own gold mine is only at 4,000. It's not nothing, don't get me wrong, there's still quite a fair chunk of gold in there. But if you compare that to a double gold mine setup on the other side, then you're of course going to fall short. So right now, second source of income coming through soon for the Undead too. 54 against 64 supply right now. Item game is getting played here now also by Cruncher, who added more and more items to the Paladin in particular. I mean, that bad boy is at 925 HP thanks to the Belt of Giant Strength and the Circlet of Nobility. Mana is not going to be an issue with the Archmage on level 4 hanging around the entire time. Mountain King on level 3. And that, of course, means it's time to nuke some undead heroes. Stormbolt on 3. Stormbolt on level 2. We don't have the Holy Light on level 2 yet, but it's only a matter of time. And Cruncher's also sitting at 1-1 upgrades for his Knights. Yep, talking Stormbolt, there's the first one, still against the Death Knight. Sanctuary, Staff Sanctuary already being used, tries to take at least one down. Nope, Holy Light is in, and that is that. But Syde tries to take him down right now, portaled over to the expansion. But of course, those towers are now taken down, and the main base is being assailed. There's another 3,400 gold left in the gold buy. Bottom right, just now finished. Only 2 Acolytes in on the other hand, so that's 40% of the potential income that he could have here. Needs to send some few more Acolytes over if he wants to completely reap the benefits of that. But in the supply numbers, we're still talking a small advantage for the Undead. 59 against 65. So, here we go. Massive amount of flying machines by now with the armor upgrade. But still, what else? We currently have... Can anybody take that Paladin down? I mean, health stone now too. What else you got? Couple of additional potions here. That would do the trick. But yeah, here's the mini creep jack. Immediately the album also joining to at least have some additional frontline sustain against the Knights. There's the level up for the Paladin. And Ring of Protection on site not taken yet. One Knight goes down. That's the level up for the Lich. Level 4 is here. But here we go. All of those destroyers are already gone, so Cruncher is sitting at 59 supply. They're actually more or less dead, even in supply now. Problem is that with the Paladin still rocking mana, there's a Stormbolt, there's a Holy Light, the Lich is in trouble, needs to be careful, and he's not the only one. The Album is already hightailing it out of this fight. And maybe another Stormbolt? Yes! But a perfect potion of invulnerability being used here by the DK before he gets hit by the stun. But this is, of course, the big prize for Cruncher now. He knows that he needs to take this expansion down. If he can accomplish that, he pretty much has the game in the bag. And Syde knows this too. So a surround against the Death Knight, but he still has a town portal. But this pretty much means that you yield the expansion. Oh, and the Lich! Nearly taken out there too. That was a clutch call right there. Holy shit. He actually keeps it alive, but the expansion is gone. And that means the second source of income is annihilated. Up to the top, 3,800 still at the expansion. And let's check the main base of the Undead. 2,400 left for him, sitting at 58 supply now against the 67 that we see for his opponent. Cruncher is looking quite strong here now. At this point in the inventory also, Orb of Fire has a couple of potions left for the Mountain King. That already important. Another Scroll of Town Border being taken here. And yeah... it's getting tricky. There's a little bit more creep spots left on the map. That means, of course, additional gold too for Syde. But there it is. Lich right now with a potion of lesser invulnerability, and he's going to need it. I mean, yes, the Death Knight still has a little bit of mana left, but it's definitely not enough to sustain himself through an entire battle and keep that coil up. And the pressure is still mounting up, with now also the ghouls taken down. There's still 200 lumber that we have for Syde, but this is not looking good. It's not looking good at all for him. He had the right idea there, but Cruncher set up a fantastic defense earlier, and him delaying the tech on the Undead side by cancelling the Slaughterhouse was huge and delayed the entire approach that we saw from Syde. These attacks that we're seeing now are buying him even more time. He can easily trade town portals when it comes to that. Wasn't even the case here, but those 350 gold that he now needs to rebuy that thing are just no problem for him anymore. He's sitting at 68 supply against 54. He has good heroes too, especially when we're looking over to that Mountain King and Paladin combo with both of them on level 3. We have now the second Staff of Sanctuary in the inventory of the Paladin. And yeah, it's going to be tough. That next fight, whenever it happens, is a do-or-die moment for Syde. He is looking at 55 supply. He needs a hero kill, and he needs it quick. He can't take that army down. As first of all, super tanky Knights at the front. There's a lot of heal there. The destroyers are not going to do a whole lot with the amount of flying machines that we have there, unless he can play a little bit of hit and run and take them down one after another, which he is trying right now. So granted, he's eliminating them slowly and steadily. The coil saves the Pit Lord for now. Double ring in the inventory, plus in addition to that, a Belt of Giant Strength too. So he is pretty tanky with 1,050 hit points. But there is only pork from Cruncher. He knows time is still working for him. Bit of scouting going on, ensuring that there is no hidden expansion on the Undead side on the map. And that's all that you need to really do here. Just control the map as much as you can. A couple of those spell breakers at the front. 1/1 upgrades are there. Bam! Stormbolt to the face. The coil for just another second. Saves the air bomb. But that's of course the end of it too. The focus can't really survive that. The quick surround was in there. And here comes the Staff of Sanctuary. Yeah, first one at least being used. And the second one just for fun to keep the knight alive. So with that, have fun trying to take down anything on the humans' army. 75 supply now for Cruncher. He's about to cross over into the high upkeep if he produces any more units. Ah well, he's at 78 max supply, so it's not going to happen. But there's the additional upgrades that are now coming in. Steel plating is on the way. We already have the second attack upgrade finished. So those knights are hitting hard at this point. And as I said, experience on those heroes are looking pretty solid too. And Syde, he's doing the only thing that he can do. Creep the map, get additional levels for his heroes, and hope for a lucky punch. He needs to get a bit of a sucker punch in. One hero that doesn't pay attention for a moment, the Coil Nova, to wreck him. Maybe a good flank at some point, but there's a lot of scouting going on from Cruncher, and Syde has already abandoned all hopes of himself setting another base up. He knows that he needs to win a fight, and he needs to get a good angle, and this is not it. Death Knight at the front in trouble immediately. The hit and run attempts, of course, of the Undead, always trying to be a bit of a nuisance, but that fight is forced as we see, and here come flying machines to just rip the backline destroyers completely to shreds. Another coil keeps the Lich alive for a little bit longer. More and more AoE coming through, but those knights, they couldn't care less. They're dropping low, but they're always getting saved by the Staff of Sanctuary or a Holy Light from the Paladin. And by now, we have 54 supply against 76. The 20 supply advantage in the hands of the human player takes down another statue. That's the end of the Pit Lord. That's another level up. Level 4 for the Mountain King, and it should be lights out from here on out. It's just an Undead player with the help of the Aura trying to escape, but the GG is being called. The Syde realizes that he can't win this game any longer. He had hopes to maybe win the fight, maybe get a quick hero kill in, and then clean house, but it didn't happen. Cruncher victorious as he takes the map and advances to the next round of the tournament. GG, and well played.